Hi there, welcome to my garage. I've been wanting to do a looping lesson for a while now because these looping pedals are quite fantastic and I think they're becoming a lot more popular these days, but they can kind of be tricky to get your head around how to get them to work the way you want them to. So what I thought I'd do is I'd demonstrate how it works and then go through the different processes to try and build up a little song. I chose the song Redbone by Childish Gambino because it's a real funky little tune, and it incorporates everything like beatboxing, a little bass line, some little chords, and a little riff as well. So you can learn all those things and kind of put them together. And if it's all too tricky as a whole, you can just sort of take a step back and do one thing at a time. The really important thing is to nail the timing of the thing, and then once you've done that, the rest of the stuff kind of falls into place. So I'll go ahead and play it for you, and then we'll take it from there. Enjoy. Okay, so like I said, there's like, how many parts? 1, 2, 3, a bunch. I didn't even count. I'll show you them all individually, and then you can kind of go from there. So like I said, the most important thing about the loop to begin with is getting that initial timing right. So you've really got to be counting quite strongly in your head, and that's okay, especially with this first bit, which is really 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. It's got a really driving rhythm to it, right? So that can kind of help with getting that timing right. So first recommendation is to not choose like the first part that you lay down should definitely be have some strong rhythm throughout it. It's a lot more difficult if you were going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, with big floaty chords or whatever. You can put the floaty chords in later, but what happens with the loop pedal is that your loop length is dictated by your first and your last press, and if you don't get that bang on, then the whole thing's fucked, and you've got to start again. And trust me, that's not fun when you're in the middle of a gig. So that's number one. But I'll get to showing you with the actual pedal in a minute. So I'll teach you the little bits, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the first bit is the bass line. Now we're in the key of E flat minor, and we're just using these little power chords, and we're trying to make it sound like a slap bass. So I'm really pulling this string. So I got a B, so a B, second fret on the 5th string, and then F sharp on the 4th fret on the 4th string there. And then moving that up 2 frets, that same shape to the 4th fret of the 5th string and the 6th fret of the 4th string, and then the last one is the 6th fret of the 5th string and the 8th fret of the 4th string. So you've got B, D flat, E flat, yeah. So like I say, each of those ones there are really poppy. Boom, boom, and I get a good slap in there as well. Slap. So this top one is more of a percussive sound than the note itself. Obviously you want to get the note right, but it's got that nice little percussiveness to it. So it sounds like a slap bass. And you just repeat that twice. Pedal. That'd be where you hit the pedal again, and that'll start, and that'll keep itself going, right? Okay, so that's the first little bit. Second little piece of the puzzle is to play these kind of little chordy things at the top that I've got here, right? So I'm using like a B triad, a D flat triad, and an E flat triad there. So that's your 9th fret on the 4th string, your 8th fret on the 3rd string, and then your 7th fret on the 2nd string. Moving that shape up 2 frets to the 11th, 10th, and 9th on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd respectively, and then to the 13th, 11th, and 11th for that E flat minor sound. Oh, sorry, minor. And so I've got that shape with my 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger, and then I'm using my 1st finger on the what fret is that? On the 6th fret on the 2nd, on the 3rd string, and I'm hammering that on. And I'm playing those two at the same time. I'm using my fingers for all of this. Yeah, and thumb for that B down there. So hammer on, and then off, and then play the B down there on the 4th string, and then a similar thing but with more of a trilly sound. So rather than hammer on up, it's but the whole time I'm playing these 2 strings as like a double stop, right? And then I'm hammer on to the E flat. And then I again do another like trilly thing. So that's so I've got my 1st finger across the 11th fret on the 3rd and 2nd strings, and hammer on, pull off onto the 13th and back off, down to the 13th on the 4th string, and then the same thing the next string down, so on the 3rd and the 4th strings, doing that, and then hitting down to the 14th fret on the 5th string, so, and then repeat. And then on the second time I just do an E flat minor 7 little thing there. It's actually a G major triad, but it's for that E flat, G flat major triad. So and that hammer on. So the hammer-ons are the really kind of important parts, the little trilly bits. And then so it's those same 2 top ones again, the 7th and the 6th fret on the 2nd and the 3rd strings, and you're hammering on. There's the little trill down to the 9th fret on the 4th string. So again, it's like that G flat major triad, but you're hammering on from there, and then ending on the 6th fret on the 5th string. Okay, so that was a bit of a mouthful. Let me play that whole thing through again. So again, it's like this B major triad, 9, 8, 7 on the 4th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string, and your hammer on with that double stop, and and then same here, but with a trilly thing. So it's a da-da-do-da, and then da, and then double stop hammer-ons. Yep, and then repeat the same thing. And G flat. Yeah, catch all that. So that's maybe the trickiest part, I would say. But getting that groove is the important thing. I mean, even if you just went D flat, E flat minor, B, D flat, E flat minor. Just getting that groove on there is kind of the important thing. I was just being fucking showy offy with that, but that's kind of what I like it to sound like anyway. So there's that bit. So the important bit, I suppose, is getting it B, D flat, and E flat minor. And then the last bit on the guitar, because I'll show you the beatboxing in a second. The last bit on the guitar is the little riff, right? So that's the little riff, right? So we're going from again, we're in E flat. So we're going from the 11th fret on the 2nd string to the 9th fret on the 11th string to the 7th fret on the 2nd string. Did I say the 11th string? I think I did, but I mean the 2nd string. 6th fret on the 2nd string. 6th fret on the 3rd string. 8th fret on the 4th string, and then 8th fret on the 3rd string. And there's a little slide there. And hammer on from the 6 to the 8 there. And then I kind of do this little Reiki thing. So I kind of mute all mute the 5th, the 4th, and the 3rd strings until I get to the 6th fret on that 4th string. And then 8th fret on the 3rd string, sorry. 7th fret on the 2nd string. 9th fret on the 1st string. 6th fret on the 1st string. So it's an interesting little shape. It's like a E flat minor 7. So you're going D flat, E flat, G flat, D flat, B flat, and then again this kind of Reiki thing to the 6th fret on the 2nd string. That sounded kind of shit. There you go. 6, 7, 8, 6. Yeah? Way up, rake da 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 da, rake da da da. Yeah, so that's all that. Let me just play it again for you slowly. So it's 11, I can't say all the numbers, I'll try. 11, 9, 7, 6, 6, 8, 8, 6, 8, 7, something, 9, 9, 6, 6, 7, 9, whatever that is, 7. Yeah, cool. You'll see the little thing that shows you. Okay, so those are all the guitar parts that you have to layer over everything. Now let me show you what you have to do singing-wise. Okay, so the singing parts, I thought it would be easier to show you with the actual microphone and the little pedal thing. So what I'll do is I'll lay down the beat so you can see how that kind of works. And then I'll lay those harmonies over top. And then I could probably show you putting the guitar parts in there as well. So with the beat, the really important thing is obviously getting it in time. Like I say, if you start with the bass line first, you're going to be okay because you just beat over top and it'll line itself up. But if you're starting with the beat, which is totally fine as well because you've kind of got, that kind of gives you the time. Like I said, it's more rhythmic across it rather than being kind of a floaty thing. So that's okay. You can starting with the beat is I often will do that as well. But getting it really groovy is the important thing. So having your Boots and Cats. If you haven't seen Boots and Cats, it's definitely worth a watch. But Boots and Cats, Boots and Cats and Boots and. If you start by saying Boots and Cats, that kind of gives you the idea of the things that you're trying to do, and then you kind of just accentuate the consonants of those things because it's the which is the bass bit. So you're not saying much of the cat or the ooh, it's the and the which is the snare drum, right? So you've got the snare drum, the cat, which is the snare drum. Sorry, I said hi. Yeah, the hi-hat is the and then the which is the bass drum, right? So you've got and then you can, you know, work on adding in little hi-hats and different bass drum things so you can get like yeah, so you get a nice groove going. So the important thing is the groove. So, sorry, I have my socks on now. It's kind of weird, but anyway. So I'm going to push this at the beginning as soon as I'm on beat 1. That's when I'm going to push the start pedal. As you can see, I mean, if you haven't used one of these before, it's probably a good idea to actually know what the buttons do. So let me just show you the buttons first. So the buttons, that's your start button. You're going to press that, and it's going to start recording. And then again, you press it one more time to stop the recording, and the loop is then set, and then that's the length of the loop, and then anything you do over top of that is just going to be layered on top. So it's really important that you get that first initial thing down. If you don't, it'll sound like this. Check it out. This is a bad timing. All over the place. Awful. So I screwed up the timing there. But anyway, so this would be what it would be like if you do it correctly, like this, right? Right time, yeah? So that's the beat laid down. And then, like I say, after that, you've just got to kind of sing over top. You've got to get those harmonies. So the harmonies are in an E flat minor triad. I usually use my guitar to sort this out, so I've got the E flat minor triad. And I'm singing Stay Woke. Stay woke, stay, my bad, stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. And then the next note. Stay woke. Stay woke. And then the next note. Stay woke. Stay woke. And that is the complete loop laid down with just... Am I turning that up? I want to be turning that down, sorry. Oh, shit. Real professional cut. Yeah, so that's the loop laid down, right? As you can see, the timing is correct. So once you, like I say, once you nail down the loop initially, the timing will be set, and then everything you do after that just fall into place. Yeah? So I really recommend working on getting that initial the initial loop timing really sorted, whether that's with your guitar or with the beatboxing or whatever you might find most useful for that. But just really work on it. It took me a long time to just get that thing lined up every single time. Because like I said, if you do that in a performance, it's not going to work out so well for you. And then, like I say, all you need to do after that is... Now, the one thing I did screw up in this is normally what I'll do, because you've got to think about, once you've done all that, right, you've got all your different parts and you're all laid out, the thing you've got to think about is how it's going to work, especially because this song, the verses and the choruses are slightly different, right? So what I'll normally do is I'll lay down the beat on one track. So on this one, we've got two tracks here. We've got this track here, and you've got a second track here. So you can switch between the tracks like this. And you can do that either by touching this, or if you hold down the stop button, you'll see it'll change over to the second track, right? Now, everything I've recorded has been on this track here. You can see the little blinking light. So everything is on there, and I can start that track, and I can change the volume of it, and things like that. And so everything I just recorded then is on that first track. Now, if I go ahead and change over to the second track, and then start recording something, so that is now on the second track, right? And you'll hear it, it'll come around soon. And a second. There you go. So then, but I can stop that track if I want to by pushing the stop button, as long as it's on that right one. So you need to make sure that you're selecting the right track and pressing record or pressing stop or whatever you want to do, depending on what track is. So you just got to keep an eye on which track you've got enabled. And so what I was trying to say is you need to think about how it's going to work. So normally what I do with this song is I'll lay down the beat. Sorry, I'll lay down the bass line first, and then I'll lay down those chords over top, and then I'll lay down the stay woke over top of that, and then I'll lay down that little line. That's all on one track, and then on the second track I put the beat. Yeah, so I beat that out, and then what I can do is then I can beat that out, gross. And then what I can do is go back to the first track and stop it, and then just play chords or a bass line for the verse. So it'll have the beat and it'll have me playing. You know, so you can play that. It won't work right now because I've got the stay wokes is there as well. But it'll be. So you can play that, and you can do all that just while the beat's happening, and so you're playing the guitar and singing along, and then when the chorus comes in, bam, you just nail on it, you just press the play button on that track, and you're away laughing. So that was a lot of information in that one little bit. That's because looping is kind of a full-on confusing kind of thing. It's not so bad. Once you get the hang of, like I say, you've got to get the bass timing down, and then you're pretty much golden from there. But okay, so start with that little bass line. I can delete everything off that, what I've done there. Start with that little bass line. Pedal. And now it's going to repeat, right? Now you've got to be careful here as well, because you'll see the recording light is still on. So anything I do now will actually get recorded over top of this as well. So you got to press it a second time so that it's not recording anymore, and then you're all good. So get that down. Get that timing down with that one little loop. And even take it really simple. Just don't need to have any of the fluffy, other stuff. Just getting that timing down, so that you can really nail it. And look, even if you need to kind of just do like a really simple thing. Just to get yourself into the time of things, so that you're used to feeling that time and nailing it every time, because you've got to, like I say, you got to tap your foot at the right time. Another good thing to do is make sure that you're tapping your foot along with what you're playing. And if your foot is tapping, if you kind of see my foot there, tapping in time with, and then all you need to do is push your foot a little tiny bit further when you're at the right time. I think that's all I can say about this at this point. I hope all of that was helpful. I hope that you can learn something from that. It is kind of an advanced lesson, but if any of y'all are interested in doing some more looping stuff, I can take it back and focus on maybe a simpler song in the future. But I really like the song. I think it covers a lot of bases. Looping wise, like I say, it's got the beatbox, it's got the vocal harmonies, it's got the bass line, it's got the little lick thing, and it's got some chords. So it's like everything you need for a really cool looping song. So that's why I kind of wanted to do that one. So hopefully you can learn something from this. Hopefully you can take something away. And I'll, like I say, if y'all are interested, I can do some more looping stuff. Because it's a really fun thing to do. It's a really fun thing to do once you get a looping pedal. It means you don't have to have any friends. You can just be a one-man band and you're golden, you know what I mean? Which works perfectly for me because no one wants to hang out with me. Anyway, I'll catch y'all next time. And yeah, hopefully you learn something. Catch you later. Keep playing guitar. It's fun.
stay.